Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. This is the world's favorite place to go for podcasting and live streaming. Pay no attention to that statement, Jack Nerad. It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Ahead, world traveler, auto expert, enthusiast, car reviewer. He does everything, and he makes great bacon and eggs. Jack Nerad, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have This Week in Auto History. I'll get you caught up on the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Howdy, along with Mike out of This World Mars. We always need more Jeff Zekin, our chief engineer David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. Let's get right to it, shall we? Out to the left coast. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is, by popular demand, Jack Nerad. Hi, Jack.
Nearly live on hi, how you doing? Nearly live on our stage here, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's great to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while.
It's been a while, and it's sad because I love talking to you guys.
Well, we love talking to you, too. So we understand that you just got back off vacation. Where'd you go? What'd you do? Show and tell, please.
It's a while ago now. We went overseas, and my youngest daughter studied abroad, studied in Copenhagen for the better part of a year. So we went over there, kind of poked around a little bit, picked her up, and then came back. But she is back now, working as an intern here in California, and going to go back for her final year of architecture school.
In Copenhagen?
No, here in the
U.S. Okay, very good.
Yeah,
all right, well, that's good. How are things with America on the road?
Things are terrific, actually. We have changed networks. We're now on the Sports Byline network. We're excited about that. So if you check out Sports Byline, we're a Saturday morning show like most car shows are, right? And you can look for us there. Of course, America on the Road is available as a podcast on all the podcast outlets. So
when are you live, Jack?
Most days I'm live.
He's live right now.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a scheduled show on Saturday?
Yeah, the show airs depending on in which time zone you live. I think it would air at 6 o'clock Central Time. Airs at 7 o'clock in the East. Airs at 4 in the morning. I actually heard us here at 4 in the morning. I was up with my dog last night. Our old dog is much like having an infant. So I listened to the show a little bit, but we're happy to be on the Sports Byline Network. And again, like I say, you can find us as you can find your show online
everywhere.
All the time as a podcast.
Yeah, it's amazing now the way the technology is and all of the outlets that are available.
We're big in Copenhagen.
Well, big there.
We are.
And I know that you missed our broadcast because you were on vacation. So just saying, welcome to all of our Copenhagians. I guess whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So, Jack, let's talk about current news. And I started off our 3-hour show with the news of CDK, and I know that you're in tune with this, and the dealer management software system that has been hacked by some Eastern European country or gang or whatever you want to call it, and they brought the whole system down, and 15,000 dealerships are struggling to actually survive this morning without it because dealer management system is just that. It does everything for a dealership, parts, service, new car sales, F&I, all of the things that involve a dealership. Have you heard anything? What's your take on all this?
Well, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal for all these dealerships because, as you say, virtually every dealer in the United States is completely dependent upon their dealer management system, and there are just a few vendors that offer these. It's largely that you want to have a system that a lot of other dealers have, right? It kind of makes sense that you would do that. So this is really difficult for those dealers with that system. And it doesn't look like there's a quick solution to this. Oftentimes in this kind of situation, a bribe has to be made, right? I mean, some kind of ransom payment has to be made,
right,
to undo this, and certainly that isn't something we want to resort to. But I don't know how this is going to be resolved. I think dealerships can still write deals manually, but it's just so much harder to do.
Yeah, the ones that can remember how to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Five copies, press hard.
From what I understand, that there are some dealerships that actually stopped selling cars. At least you couldn't walk in with cash money and say, I want to buy the car, because they didn't even know what to do without this system. And from what I understand, that there are still some dealerships that are having some issues trying to get new cars out the door to people that have already purchased them because of the problems that are involved with new car sales. And that's just the new car side of it, because let's face it, parts departments, service departments, everything that you can imagine in a dealership being affected by this.
I mean, you set up loans that way. You go to the Department of Motor Vehicles or the Secretary of State's office, depending on your state, to license the vehicle. All of that stuff's computerized, and when that's not happening, it's a big problem.
Yeah, big red flag. So let's talk about cars for a minute. Have you driven anything that you want to point out? Anything interesting, fun, whatever?
Yeah, I've driven a lot of vehicles that are a lot of fun. I mean, most recently, I was in a Lexus LS 500H. It's an actual car. I mean, we're talking about trucks and sport utilities all the time. It was kind of refreshing to get in a big luxury sedan and drive that around for a while. And, you know, sedans are a lot of fun. They are practical in many ways, not as practical typically as an SUV, but this is a vehicle I liked a lot. The comfort level, just the level of luxury within this vehicle. Never noticed any kind of transition. It's a hybrid, so it gets good fuel economy, but never noticed any kind of transition from electric to gas. I mean, Toyota probably does that as well or better than anybody else in terms of making that transition.
There was a guy.
Other vehicles are not that great at that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll never forget the first time I was in a Lexus LS, and it was when it first came out, and it was so revolutionary to think that you could have this much luxury in a big sedan, because let's face it, I mean, Cadillac and Lincoln at the time back in the early 90s, they owned the market. And then to have this Japanese automaker come in there and blow everybody out of the water with the ride, the quality of the build, the materials that they used in the car, and made it affordable to compete in that market, I'm going, holy cow. And it clearly changed the market.
Absolutely, big time. I was at Motor Trend when the Lexus LS was introduced, when the Lexus brand started. And it was one of our competitors, I think in the 1989, if I remember correctly, Import Car of the Year. There were some pretty good competitors in that field, including the original Miata. And the vehicle that won actually was the Nissan 500ZX.
My gosh.
Lexus wasn't particularly happy about that. I think Mazda probably should have won looking back. But maybe the Lexus should have won. Certainly Lexus has changed the landscape of the luxury car industry.
And the number of vehicles that they make, my gosh, you go to any website and all of the different models of cars that they make, and then drill down each model into their trim levels, and you've got a mind-boggling array of cars.
Hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm baffled by how the luxury brands can do that. I mean, not only Lexus, but Mercedes-Benz, BMW, the number of variations they have is just mind-boggling. First, they have a ton of models. Now, BMW, for example, has electrics in virtually every segment as well. Mercedes does too. And then you have variants of those. And then you have color. I don't know how dealers order them, how they can have enough in stock in the proper colors to serve the market well.
Well, I can imagine that the dealer ordering book is probably as thick as LA Yellow Pages.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so Jack, I wanted to ask you, actually make a comment first. I had a chance to drive this Lexus RX 450H Plus. Have you had a chance to drive that yet?
I have, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. The fuel mileage and the smoothness, the transition between electric and gasoline, you don't even know that that's taking place. The ride, the comfort level, the quality of the build, I was blown away by this thing.
Yeah, it's so terrific, absolutely terrific. And I think a lot of us who like cars are big fans of plug-in hybrids. We think that's a cool technology,
Yep.
and that's what the H Plus indicates, I think, on that vehicle and on all the Lexus vehicles. What's kind of sad is a lot of people who buy a plug-in hybrid never plug them in.
Well, that is true, and I'm guilty at that. The hotel that we stayed at when I drove this out in Denver didn't have any plugs at all. There was no way to plug, and I was not going to waste my vacation time going to a charging station, and that's a whole nother story for me. I've had a really bad experience.
Well, you have a good excuse, Don. So not like everybody driving at home who doesn't.
That's true. But at any rate, the charging infrastructure here in the Houston area sucks. I don't know how else to put it, Jack. I don't know how you deal with it out there in California. I would imagine that you have a better infrastructure than we do here. At least that's what I read. But I'll tell you what, trying to find a fast charging station, and find one that works is an absolute nightmare here in Houston.
It's very difficult here, and you're competing against a lot more electric vehicles because there are so many electric vehicles in California, in Southern California, in the San Francisco area. So fast chargers are kind of hard to find out here as well, or a fast charger that isn't being occupied and being used by somebody.
Right.
And yet there's a bunch of empty level 2 chargers practically everywhere.
Right.
But who is going to spend 2 hours or more, hours upon hours actually, at a level 2 charger in a mall parking lot? It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Let me ask you, do you have a level 2 charger at your house?
I do not.
You don't?
No.
So
No.
when you get a press car, you've got to either manage your miles or you've got to know where to go to get a fast charge.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I will just plug it into 110. I mean, essentially nobody does that in real life because I think if you buy an electric vehicle, you probably and have a home, single family home in particular, you should get a level 2 charger and set yourself up that way. But you can add a few miles, something like 20 miles worth of range typically overnight on 110.
Yes.
That isn't great, but it kind of, depending on what you're doing, can replace what you've used the day before.
Yeah, usually. I know that for me, my commute to work is about 35 miles, and plugging it in overnight will get me almost to where I was when I started the day. So that would be, and I plug it in at work as well once I get there. So I was able to, kind of keep up with it. But this particular vehicle, I was not. And I was guilty of not plugging it in at work because the 110, the level 1 charger at work didn't work. Imagine that. And then so I get out here to Sugar Land, and I do have a place that I typically have gone in the past for a level 3 charger, a fast charger, and it didn't work. And trying to find one out here where I live within a 15-mile radius was impossible because the Kia EV9 that I had, of course, it tells me where the chargers are. It took me one place, an apartment complex not too far from me, a gated apartment complex for a level 1 charger. Well, that doesn't do me any good, but the car doesn't know that. All it knows is that there's a charger there. And I'm sure that you've probably run into the same issue.
I have, and what is really troubling, right, is these things not working. I mean, when's the last time you pulled into a gas station and a gas pump wasn't working, right? I mean, it happens occasionally. I've seen it happen, maybe half a dozen times in my life.
Yeah, but there's another one 5 foot away.
Yeah, exactly. There's another one just right there. So it's essentially never an issue. But it is an issue with this infrastructure, and apparently there's no profit to be made by running these things as a business, and we're expecting them to be ancillary to malls, to big box stores, to restaurants and movie theaters. It just doesn't seem to work that way. Nobody is monitoring these things is a big part of the problem. It's at a gas station, somebody is there. There are attendants there, right? There's at least somebody working in the convenience store that knows whether the gas pumps are working or not.
And you can certainly understand why that the convenience stores aren't jumping at the chance to have, a fast charger installed, because we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars to have one plug that you're going to have a car sit at for 30 minutes. And I don't know of anybody that wants to spend 30 minutes inside of a convenience store. And no offense to the convenience store owners, but it's a convenience store.
They don't want you to be there for 30 minutes.
No, they don't.
They don't. They want you to be in their parking lot for 5 minutes or so, and then move on. They depend on turnover, so that's kind of the last thing that they want.
Yeah. So let's get back to the cars for a second. We're kind of running out of time here, but I did want to ask you: have you driven anything that you would want everybody to drive?
I think the new Land Cruiser, the Toyota Land Cruiser, you talked about the Tacoma, and they're pretty closely related in terms of powertrain in particular, I think. It's pretty cool. It's very, very cool. I had a chance to drive it off-road recently, a little east of here, and some very, very good off-road driving situations. And I was a little skeptical, I have to admit, about the new one. It's downsized. It's kind of, in some ways, back to the original in a way, at least in terms of size. But I think the Land Cruisers, I think Toyota has actually found a little bit of white space out there, kind of an empty area where it's above the 4Runner, which is a wonderful vehicle and about to be renewed. And then, there are larger vehicles, but I think they've done a nice job with the Land Cruiser.
Toyota seems to be on top of it. I've really been impressed with not only the Toyota line, but the Lexus line as well, even though they've got so many vehicles that they sell. But I can certainly understand the appeal. And for me and you and all of us, really, I think that for survivability, I think that it's going to become a deal where price is everything, at least right now with interest rates and the economy the way that it is. Who can go out? Not everybody can go out and afford a $50,000, $60,000 vehicle. What happened to those $20,000 and $30,000 vehicles?
It's something we talk about all the time. I'm pretty close with the J.D. Power people, and they're on top of this. I mean, the typical car now, the average car cost is around $50,000. I mean, your typical monthly payment for a lot of folks is close to $1,000 a month with the high interest rates we have, and if you don't have perfect credit. I mean, that's like a house payment of a generation ago, right?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's kind of, I think the auto industry is losing a whole generation, really, of younger buyers who can't afford. There's no way on earth they can afford $1,000 kind of car payment. I think they're kind of turning their back on the new car buyer, that kind of new car buyer. There just are so few vehicles available, even base priced under $30,000.
Yeah,
it's kind of a mind blower.
What did you drive when you were overseas?
Actually, when I was overseas, we didn't drive. I was testing public transportation over there. So we were in London, and we took, the subway there, the tube, taxi from airport, that kind of thing. We actually went back to the airport on the subway, which was an interesting thing. And in Copenhagen, they have pretty good public transportation. Of course, it's heavily subsidized by the government, a whole different kind of thing than we have. So we used public transportation when we were there, and it worked out fairly well because we were in city centers. We weren't going very far, and we were tourists, right? On a day-to-day basis, it wouldn't be very practical, but for us, a week in Europe, it worked out pretty well.
Very Jack, cool. It's always great to catch up with you. We thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, we got to get back on our monthly schedule or something.
I'd love to do that.
Well, we love you, and thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and, you're one of us.
I feel like it, and I really appreciate you having me on each time.
Well,
I really
thank
enjoy
you.
it every time.
Jack Nerad, America on the Road. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Jack.
Hey, the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Pro-Am Auto Accessories has been serving Houston's auto enthusiasts since 1984, providing world-class products for sports cars, European sedans, and American muscle. Pro-Am is known as the place to go to find exclusive and hard-to-find parts and accessories. Pro-Am is one of the very first distributors in the USA for brands such as Recaro, Redline, Momo, Corbo, and Simpson. Located in the heart of Houston's premier retail and service corridor, the Galleria area, Pro-Am's walk-in storefront includes an 8,000-square-foot warehouse, showroom, and installation bays. Pro-Am not only sells parts and accessories, but also offers installation and service. Pro-Am is now reaching a worldwide audience through Pro-Am.com, taking its local reputation to the rest of the world. At Pro-Am Auto, you'll be dealing with a small group of professionals who truly want to help you with your automotive needs. If you don't see what you're looking for on the website, call and Pro-Am will lend you a hand. Pro-Am Auto, 6125 Richmond at Green Ridge in Houston's Galleria area. Call them at 713-781-7755. Want to feel good about something special you did for someone special? In Wheel Time and the original Lupi Tortilla group of Tex-Mex restaurants have joined together to help a very worthy cause, God's Garage, a Christian-based 501c3 charity. We know there are lots of places and organizations out there where you can donate a car, truck, or SUV, but we're asking you, our car enthusiast family, to consider donating to God's Garage. Visit godsgarage.org and learn about its mission, the women that have been helped, how each one is screened, and about their Restore You program. A car donation is an easy way to make a difference in the lives of others. God's Garage needs good operating vehicles, but will take all types in working and non-working condition. Make your heart and soul feel good by donating your gently used vehicle and help support single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military at godsgarage.org.
Oh, we're just sitting here talking about cars that we'd like to have. Here's a 1926 Ford 11T. I don't know whether it's a fiberglass body or what, but it looks really cool. $14,280 it sold for on Hemmings Sold Cars Roundup. All right. You're on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Thanks for riding with us today. Mr. Mars has This Week in Auto History.
Yes, sir. Got a few things here from this past week in auto history. June the 16th, 1903, after some finagling with Henry Leland at Cadillac, the fully independent Ford Motor Company was incorporated by Henry Ford, and which would later actually be the company that would go ahead and revolutionize the industry with the introduction of the assembly line and the mass production techniques. June the 17th, 1940, the first Jeep prototype was delivered. This Jeep was known as the Bantam Reconnaissance Car, delivered to the U.S. Army. And this is what evolved into the iconic Jeep, becoming a critical part of the Allied efforts in World War II, and developed into what we have today as far as the variety of the Jeeps are. Then, coming up on June the 18th, and I really found that this one was pretty interesting, 1969, Saab introduces the first turbocharged passenger car.
I like it.
Now, but think about, and we just take turbochargers like you were talking about earlier. Turbochargers are an everyday thing now. I never realized that it was 1969 when the first one hit the passenger cars. They've been on diesels forever.
Look at what's sitting next to it. That is awesome.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a wagon.
Okay.
So moving on to June the 19th, 1978, Volkswagen Beetle production in Germany ends after making 11 million vehicles. It was actually... They should have never stopped making that car. Well, they continued to make them in Australia, Mexico, Nigeria, and now a total of 16 million have been made worldwide now.
Wow.
That's the interesting things I found this week in automotive history.
Beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, on the Volkswagen, when I looked at the picture, the last 300 were made the same, painted the same, everything about them was the same.
You know somebody's got those, at least one in their collection.
And they've all been recalled.
No, that's the funny thing about it. They don't have recalls on those.
No,
they're too simple. They're just, it's a car.
Yeah.
Period. There's something to be said for those days.
Oh, yeah. 4 bolts, the engine comes out.
Yeah, that's it.
With a floor jack. You want to get to the pistons, you take
kind of a wiggle.
4 more bolts apart and crack the block. It comes in 2 pieces.
Wiggle,
how do you know all of this, Mars?
Well, I had to work on a few of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Were they yours?
No.
You have friends or?
That's it, friends.
You have friends that allowed you to work on their car?
Well, it was actually young ladies that didn't have much choice because they couldn't afford to pay anybody else.
Yep.
So they had to find some idiot like me that would do it for free.
Help them out. Got to help them out.
That's right, doing my part.
There you go.
Chevrolet said it will reveal the next generation Corvette ZR1 on July 25th. Brand released a teaser video on June 20th with the reveal date for the upcoming top performance production model of the mid-engine Corvette, which is built at General Motors Assembly in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They described the ZR1 as the unthinkable in preview videos. Well, somebody thought of it, so it's not unthinkable. No other details have been released. Automotive News reported last fall that Chevy has tested the ZR1 at the Nürburgring Ring, with the C8 variant being powered by a twin-turbo V8 that could top 850 horsepower. When it debuts, the ZR1 will join the Corvette Stingray, the Z06, and the hybrid E-Ray versions of what is among GM's most storied nameplates. Chevy has sold the 2024 E-Ray in the fastest production Corvette, a 0-60 time of 2.5 seconds. Wow. Brand recently named a guy by the name of Tony Roma. And no, it's not a pizza company.
And he don't play football.
No.
Well, then why are we talking about it?
He's the new leader of the Corvette development team. He takes over July 1st as executive chief engineer from GM's new global Corvette and performance cars team, succeeding retiring Taj Jukter. So that's big. Whatever. Tag.
That's
Here,
cool.
you read it.
All right, I'll look at it.
Okay. Jeep Wrangler 392 and its V8 Hemi engine are coming back for the 2025 model year. You know, the problem that I have with this is that they've made the last editions of these and sold them at a premium at dealerships. Well, guess what? Forget that. Even though you paid $10,000 more for the last edition, it ain't the last edition because now they're going to build it again.
It's like that commercial on TV, and I don't remember who it is, but these people are standing around, I got the last hotel room at this price.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got the last hotel room at this price. You know, it just depends on which last vehicle you got.
Light Truck Brand said in March that it was bidding farewell to V8 Wranglers with the six-figure 2024 final edition, but it has since decided demand was too great to let it go. 2025 model will be called the final edition as well. I am ticked if I bought that at a premium.
Well, yeah. But, even George Strait retired, and now he's doing
I was thinking the same
sellouts.
thing. In music, how many farewell tours did the Eagles have?
I think Kiss is still on a farewell tour for the last
Rolling
10
Stones,
years.
yeah.
Jeez.
They didn't say farewell to everybody.
No, they didn't. They
They
didn't.
have to get everybody there.
I'm
Farewell.
I'm irritated.
Farewell, Mike.
I've got too many pages here that I'll not be able to find the close that I have rewritten and wanted to really make a big deal out of it because I've lost my. Oh, there it is.
Oh, well, we'll make a big deal out
We
of
will.
Yeah, I know that you'll make a big deal out of it by making fun of me.
Mike will read it. Why don't you read that for him, Mike?
Yeah,
it.
read that for me, Mike.
No. I'll read this.
No, you can't read that. You can't read anything today.
Apparently.
Just pointing that out.
Thank you.
Since I could see the daggers were coming out at me, I thought I'd go ahead and nip that in the bud.
Well, we talked about gambling with the guests.
Nip it in the bud.
A good defense is a good offense.
That's right.
This show is a gamble today.
It truly is, isn't it?
Hey,
well, we thank you for joining us. Somehow, some way, we made it through, and you made it through with us, and we certainly appreciate that. Time now for a quick break. And we will wrap up today's fine in-wheel time car talk show, streaming and podcasting around the planet. Look for us on your favorite provider, and you may or may not want to have us back.
The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipe means when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the first Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here is the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katie's and other location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Loopy's. It's located on 99 the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggieland? Head to the Loopy Tortilla in College Station. Located just around the corner from Kyle Field, it's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Going to Louisiana? The Loopy Tortilla in Beaumont is on I-10, so you can't miss it. The original group of Loopy Tortilla restaurants has the best Tex-Mex anywhere, and you're invited anytime.
Well, that's it for this week's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, and we're sorry. Be sure to check out our website, inwheeltime.com. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Tell your car friends about us. And share our stuff if you would, please. We'll keep you connected to the automotive world all week long. Love letters, suggestions, and hate mail can be sent to us at Mars at inwheeltime.com.
Yeah, it's spelled INFO at inwheeltime.com.
When you're looking for award-winning car talk, you can find the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Daily 30-minute podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider. We post a new episode every day. Don't forget, we live stream this show on Facebook, YouTube, and inwheeltime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 a.m. Central Time. The In Wheel Time Sales and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Zekin. For booking agent, video editor, and people finder, Mike Out of This World Mars, and Chief Engineer David Ainsley, I'm Don Armstrong. We hope you'll join us next week here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, Saturday, June 29th from 8 to 11 on all of our In Wheel Time Car Talk outlets. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you then.
Ta-ta.
Can't say that on the radio.
I just did.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.